3 days before my wedding, I received the video. My fiancée, Chloe, kissing her ex-boyfriend, a passionate, messy affair under the neon buzz of a bar. I didn't scream. I didn't call her, demanding an explanation. I simply uploaded the video to my Facebook page, a public service for anyone who still believed in their fairy tale. I added a caption: "The wedding is off. Apologies to friends and family who were planning to travel. Don't want you to waste the trip." My phone immediately exploded. Then hers rang. It was her mother. I could practically feel the frantic anger vibrating through the receiver. "Jackson, what is the meaning of that post?" she demanded, her voice a tight coil of fury. "Take it down this instant. Do you think this makes you look good? This is humiliating." She took a breath, her tone shifting to one of forced command. "Listen to me. The wedding will proceed as planned. We will not be the laughingstock of this town." A cold, sharp laugh escaped my lips. "Ms. Rogers, your daughter cheated on me. Now the wedding's been called off. I think you should be more concerned with how you're going to explain to the neighborhood book club why you have a daughter like that. If you can't spin a good story, you know how vicious gossip can be." She shrieked into the phone. "Jackson Pierce, you're trying to ruin my Chloe's life." The sound was like nails on a chalkboard. I hung up before she could finish her tirade. When she called back, I let it ring. Some decisions, once made, don't have an undo button. Afterward, I gave my parents the short version. I told them the wedding was off, that I was serious, and that this wasn't some pre-wedding jitters meltdown. They didn't press for details. They just had my back, and I could hear them in the other room, already fielding calls from bewildered aunts and uncles. An hour later, Chloe burst through the front door. She leaned against the frame, panting, her face flushed a deep red. Whether from the sprint or the alcohol, I couldn't tell. "Jax, what the hell is this? You don't want to get married anymore." Her voice was a cocktail of disbelief and fury. I thought my Facebook post was pretty self-explanatory. "If you're having trouble with the words, I suggest a remedial English course," I said, my voice flat. I was fighting to keep the acid churning in my stomach from rising into my throat. If I let it out, I'd lose it completely. You have to rip the Band-Aid off fast. It was time to put this relationship out of its misery. I remembered when her ex came back to town. A few friends had warned me, telling me they sensed something was off. I'd brushed it off as baseless gossip. Ancient history, I thought. We were adults. Surely she was over him. Now I see how naive I was. How stupid. To believe that two people who were once so intensely in love could ever really be just friends. The moment they start seeing each other again, it's only a matter of time before one of those moments turns into that moment. This whole thing, I realized with a sickening finality, had been a mistake. I nudged a suitcase at my feet with my shoe, my expression one of pure disgust. The sight of her, all disheveled and self-righteous, made my blood boil. "Since we're done, you have no reason to be living here anymore. I've already packed your things," I said, my tone devoid of any warmth. Chloe, who always carried herself with an air of unshakable confidence, finally looked flustered. A flicker of panic crossed her face, as if she hadn't imagined I could be this decisive. "Jax, listen to me," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "It was just a stupid game with friends. A little kiss, that's all." I shot back, "Oh, really? So it's okay if I go out and make out with someone? Maybe sleep with them? Is that just a game, too?" My voice rose, sharp and loud. She stared at me, stunned. She clearly hadn't expected that. After a moment of silence, her tone turned accusatory. "That's completely different, and you know it. Why are you being so irrational?" She frowned, her expression hardening into one of pure indignation. Completely different. She had a talent for spinning betrayal into a TED Talk on situational ethics. She could have had a brilliant career in politics. Too bad she wasted it. The very idea of her explanation was exhausting. "I'm being irrational?" I scoffed, grabbing a duffel bag and tossing it at her feet. "If that's the best you've got, then we're done. For good." My voice was firm, final. I had no interest in hearing another word of her defense. And just like that, Chloe exploded. It was a familiar pattern. In every fight we'd ever had, she'd eventually hit a point where she'd just throw her hands up in exasperation. "Jax, do you have to be like this?" she cried. "We've worked so hard to get here. If you call off the wedding now, what are people going to think of me? How am I ever supposed to get married again?" She took a step closer, her eyes desperate. "If Ethan and I were going to get back together, we would have done it ages ago. Why would we wait until now?" She gestured wildly, trying to explain away the video. "We were at a bar. Kissing someone is a totally normal dare for a game. I don't even understand what you're so upset about." As she said it, she started to look genuinely wronged, as if I were the one who had betrayed her. In that moment, I finally understood why we could never work. In her world, making out with an ex was just a little game. I was the one who was too old-fashioned, too stuck in the past. Hell, if we had a kid someday and I found out it wasn't mine, she'd probably tell me it was just the latest social trend. I was done. The last ounce of hope I had for us had just evaporated. I started hauling Chloe's luggage out the door, one bag at a time, my anger fueling me. She lunged forward and grabbed my arm, her eyes pleading. Jackson, can't you just be the bigger person here? She sobbed. Fine, I won't talk to him anymore. I'll block his number. Is that what you want? I shook her off, and just as I was about to speak, I heard footsteps approaching. It was Ethan. Jax, man, I think you're misunderstanding the situation, he said, his voice smooth as oil. We're really just friends. I wished it was a misunderstanding. I really did, but I couldn't unsee what I'd seen. Damn my good eyesight. Damn my phone for not dying at that exact moment. Seeing Ethan, Chloe's face lit up with a look of helpless, wounded relief. Ethan, thank God you're here. Please explain to him that nothing happened. Ethan casually draped his arm over Chloe's shoulder, looking at her with an expression of deep affection before turning back to me. His voice was laced with sincerity. Seriously, Jax, if you don't believe it was just a game, I can take you out with us next time. We kissed, that's it. Nothing else happened. You don't have to come at her like this. He then put on a show of magnanimity. Look, I'll apologize on Chloe's behalf. This is all my fault. If I hadn't pushed for truth or dare, none of this would have happened. What a joke. Nothing else happened? What exactly had to happen? Did they need to rent a hotel room for it to count? On the surface, Ethan looked apologetic. But in the sliver of a second, when Chloe wasn't looking, his eyes met mine, and they were filled with triumphant, undisguised provocation. The rage I'd been suppressing finally broke through. I swung, my fist connecting squarely with Ethan's jaw. He staggered backward and crashed to the floor. Chloe gasped and immediately dropped to her knees beside him, cradling his head. She glared up at me, her eyes blazing with fury. Jackson, what is wrong with you? You can be angry, but you don't get to take it out on Ethan. He came here to help, and you assaulted him. Apologize to him right now. Looking down at the two of them huddled together on the floor, it all clicked into place. They were the innocent victims here. The whole problem, from their perspective, was me. I was too possessive, not nearly forgiving enough. I was supposed to just stand by and let another man kiss my fiancée. Maybe some guys could do that. Not me. I guess I'm just not that evolved. I closed my eyes for a moment, shutting them out. I couldn't look at this disgusting soap opera for another second. If I did, I might actually kill him, and I wasn't about to throw my life away for a pair of pathetic liars. The memories of my time with Chloe flashed through my mind, fast and fleeting, like scenery blurring past a car window. Chloe and I met at a friend's wedding. She was a bridesmaid, I was a groomsman. We had both been out of college for about a year, just starting our careers. Our friends had teased us. You two look great together, you should just date. We both laughed it off, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. At the time, my family had placed me in a junior role at a small subsidiary of our main corporation to learn the ropes. As it turned out, Chloe had just started working there too. Proximity bred familiarity, and soon enough, something that felt like love began to grow. 3 years into our relationship, she told me about a college boyfriend. They had broken up amicably after graduation, she said, because of the long distance. I didn't think much of it at the time. Everyone has an ex. We dated for a few more years, and eventually, getting engaged and planning a wedding felt like the natural next step. Thinking back on it now, I have to wonder, was I just a tool for her? A convenient way to get over a broken heart? The thought felt absurd, a cliche from a bad movie, but also felt sickeningly plausible. That night, I drove back to my parents' house in a daze. The day's events replayed in my head on a loop. I still couldn't wrap my mind around it. A game where you had to kiss someone? How was that a thing? When I walked in, my mom pulled me into a hug, her embrace tight and comforting. It's okay. Honey, she murmured. You don't have to explain a thing. This is not your fault. She rubbed my back. We've already spoken to the relatives. They understand. And even if they say something, who cares? Life is just us laughing at other people, and other people laughing at us. Her words were a balm on a raw wound. My eyes started to burn. I'm sorry, Mom. I choked out, my voice thick with guilt. I'm sorry for putting you through this. My dad emerged from the kitchen carrying a platter of perfectly grilled steaks. He set them on the table and said, with a deliberately light-hearted tone, Hey, this is hardly the biggest mess we've had to clean up for you. Remember when you shattered your grandmother's bracelet? The one she'd worn for 10 years? I took the fall for that one. She grounded me for a week. My mom chimed in, smiling. And what about the time you took scissors to your sister's favorite dress? It took me days to calm her down. The memories brought a faint smile to my face. They'd always been there, my unshakable support system, cleaning up my messes time and time again. I looked at the lines etched around their eyes and felt a fresh wave of guilt. I thought I was finally doing something right, bringing home a wonderful woman who would become part of their family. Instead, I delivered this disaster to their doorstep. I knew this would make us the subject of gossip for months, but my parents were facing it head on, protecting me without a second thought. I swore to myself then and there that I would spend the rest of my life making it up to them. The next morning, as we were finishing breakfast, the doorbell rang. It was Chloe and her family, uninvited. Her mother, Cynthia, shot my mom a look of strained discomfort before pasting on a wide, artificial smile. "Hello there. So glad we caught you all," she chirped, trying to diffuse the tension. "That Facebook post of Jackson's was really quite impulsive, wasn't it?" She continued, her voice dripping with faux concern and a hint of accusation. I couldn't tell which part of her act was genuine. I had a long talk with Chloe last night, a very serious one. She has promised me she will never have any contact with Ethan again. She leaned in conspiratorially, her voice dropping to a hopeful whisper. "So what do you say? Can the wedding go on as planned in a couple of days?" My mom sighed, rubbing her forehead as if nursing a migraine. "Cynthia, I wish you called earlier. I've already notified all our guests that the wedding is off." She paused, then delivered the final blow with devastating calm. "As for the wedding, I think we should just let it go. Some things just aren't meant to be, and it's best not to force them." Cynthia's smile faltered. "What do you mean, not meant to be? They're perfect for each other." My mom's eyes flickered toward Chloe, her expression a mixture of pity and contempt. "I saw the video, Cynthia, and it certainly didn't look like your daughter was very eager to marry into our family." At my mother's words, Chloe's face went white. She dropped to her knees on the hardwood floor. "Mom, I'm so sorry," she sobbed, addressing my mother. "I know I messed up. I'll never speak to him again, I swear. You love my brisket, right? I'll make it for you every single week. I'll stay home and be the perfect wife." My mom let out a long, weary sigh. "Many people can make a good brisket, Chloe, but my son can only have one wife, and it's become painfully clear that you are not cut out for the role." The finality in her voice seemed to shatter Chloe's last hope. Her head dropped, and tears streamed down her face. Suddenly, smack. Cynthia had slapped her daughter across the face, a sharp, cracking sound that echoed in the quiet room. "Chloe, apologize to your mother-in-law properly," she hissed, her voice a furious whisper. Chloe, momentarily stunned, seemed to understand her cue. She immediately launched into a fresh torrent of tears, grabbing my mother's leg. "Mom, please. I know I was wrong. I'll be good, I promise. I'll make Jax happy. Please don't give up on me." Cynthia turned her desperate appeal to my mom. "We can't let the kids make such a rash decision. As their elders, it's our job to guide them. Young people are impulsive. They make mistakes." My mother straightened up, her demeanor shifting. The warm, comforting mom was gone, replaced by the CEO who had dominated boardrooms for 30 years. Her voice was ice. "Don't call me that," she said, cutting Cynthia off. "I can't bear the title. And let me be perfectly clear. After what has happened, I will never, ever allow Chloe Rogers to marry into the Pierce family. So you can stop this little performance. We're not impressed." She gave Chloe a withering look. "We are not in the market for a daughter-in-law with such flexible morals." That quiet, commanding authority instantly silenced them. Cynthia and Chloe stared, stunned. My mother had seen through every corporate bluff and hostile takeover imaginable. This pathetic display of amateur theater didn't stand a chance. Realizing she'd been exposed, Cynthia's desperation curdled into rage. She turned on Chloe, kicking her daughter's side. "You useless girl," she spat. "You ruin everything. I don't know where you get that cheap, reckless streak of yours." She glared at Chloe as if she was a failed investment, a complete and utter disappointment. I stood by, watching the train wreck of their departure. I should have listened to my parents. They wanted us to have the wedding first, sign the legal papers later. If I had, I wouldn't be in this mess. I thought the drama had reached its peak, but I underestimated Cynthia Rogers. She had a second act. The day before the now-canceled wedding, she showed up at my office. She walked past my assistant, burst into my room, and dropped to her knees on my Persian rug. The move was so abrupt, so theatrical, I didn't know how to react. Was this some kind of emotional blackmail? Tears and snot streamed down her face. "Jackson, I am begging you," she wailed. "Let's compromise. You don't have to have the wedding ceremony. But please don't divorce her. If you do, what will happen to my Chloe?" Her voice was thick with manufactured despair. "Everyone knows about her and that ex now. Who will ever marry her? Her life will be ruined." I saw right through it. I knew exactly why she was so desperate to keep me shackled to her daughter. It was never about Chloe's happiness. It was about Chloe's younger brother. Their family prized their son above all else, and Cynthia's grand plan had always been to use this marriage as a way to get her precious boy a cushy job at my family's company. I was just the golden ticket. "Get up, Ms. Rogers," I said flatly. "Your daughter and I are finished." I decided to offer her another way out. I hear Ethan Vance is doing quite well for himself these days. He's got money. You don't have to be so fixated on me. Since they clearly can't stay away from each other, why don't you just give them your blessing? Everyone wins. At the mention of money, a greedy glint sparked in Cynthia's eyes. "Is that true? He's really successful now. She was the one who had forced them to break up in the first place, deeming Ethan too poor for her daughter. For a second, I saw her weighing her options, but then her resolve hardened. No, he'll never be in your league. My son-in-law can only be you. Seeing that reason was useless, I resorted to a threat. Get out. If you don't leave my office right now, I'm calling security. She smirked through her tears. Go ahead. Call them. This is a family dispute. The most they can do is issue a warning. They can't arrest me. She was right, and that made the situation tricky. Security would just escort her out, and she'd probably be back tomorrow. So, I leaned down close, my mouth next to her ear, and whispered a few sentences. She shot up from the floor, as if she'd been electrocuted. Without another word, she turned and marched out of my office, her eyes burning with a venomous hatred. It was a simple calculation. Her weakness was her son. Her whole desperate plea for Chloe was just a means to an end, securing her son's future at Pierce Corp. All I had to do was threaten that future. I told her that if she ever showed her face again, I would personally see to it that her son would never get hired by any reputable company in this city or any other. She fled. In her world, the identity of her son-in-law didn't matter, only the size of his bank account. Watching her leave, I felt a strange pang of pity for Chloe. With a mother like that, what chance did she ever have? I was more certain than ever that canceling the wedding was the right call. Thank God Chloe and I didn't have any kids. I can only imagine the kind of leverage Cynthia would have tried to use with a grandchild. After work, I saw Chloe waiting for me by the entrance of my building. She looked small and forlorn under the evening sky, but I felt nothing. Jax, can we talk? She asked, her voice laced with a weary desperation. I sighed. This family was relentless. Talk about what? The only thing left for us to discuss is the divorce. Her voice broke. Jax, nothing happened between me and him. I swear, that night was just a terrible mistake. I was done listening to her excuses. A derisive smile touched my lips. A mistake? Who do you think you're kidding? Do you think I'm an idiot? Or have you been watching too many cheesy romance movies? I took a step closer. I'm sorry, but I'm not some lovesick fool who tolerates betrayal. One time is a sign of countless more to come. It's too big a risk. I'm not interested in waking up one day to find out my kid isn't mine. If you were at least honest about it, I could respect you for having the guts to follow your heart. But this is just pathetic. My words hit their mark. She looked utterly lost, her eyes wide with panic. Seeing my cold indifference, Chloe seemed to snap. She went on the offensive. You know, setting aside the fact for a second, do you really think you're completely blameless in how this all fell apart? She shrieked, her voice escalating into a hysterical roar. She wanted to pin this on me. If you hadn't been so impulsive and canceled the wedding, we could have fixed this. We had a chance to go back to how things were. I stared at her, genuinely astounded. Setting aside the facts, I'd heard of people like this, but I never thought I'd be engaged to one. If you set aside the facts, what the hell is there left to talk about? My own anger finally flared. Chloe, your brand of crazy is genuinely nauseating, I spat. I'm setting you free. This is what you wanted, isn't it? To be with him? So what are you crying about? Her defiant anger deflated instantly, leaving her looking pale and fragile. She stammered, her eyes pleading. No, Jax, that's not it. The person I love is you. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and let it out slowly. When I opened them again, my gaze was steady and cold. For years, I had tried to be a good partner. I consciously kept my distance from other women because I knew she was the jealous type. I never messed around, never gave her a single reason to doubt me. The moment I felt we were ready, I proposed, wanting to give her a home, a future. I reached into my briefcase and pulled out the divorce papers I'd drawn up. Read this over. If you have any issues, call me, and I'll have my lawyer contact yours. Her hands trembled as she reached for the documents, then pulled back as if they were on fire. I lost my patience and thrust them into her hands. Without another glance, I turned and walked away. Over the past 2 days, I had come to a simple conclusion. You can't hold on to a woman who doesn't want to be held. And rather than wait around for her to cheat again, it was better to make a clean cut. When you're holding sand and it's slipping through your fingers, sometimes the only thing to do is open your hand and let it go. The next day, I got a text from her. Papers are signed. See you at the courthouse in a month. A wave of relief washed over me. It was finally over. The wedding, of course, never happened. The story of why was already the stuff of local legend. A month passed quickly. I heard through the grapevine that Chloe's mother had been relentlessly pushing her toward Ethan, orchestrating a reunion. The day we got our divorce finalized, Chloe walked out of the courthouse and went straight to get a marriage license with him. I just smiled to myself, offered them a silent, sarcastic blessing, and moved on. 2 months later, she found me again, her pride apparently swallowed. I was leaving the office late one night and saw her standing by the fountain in the corporate plaza. She looked lonely in the dark, but her sadness stirred nothing in me. Jax, she said as I approached. How have you been? Her voice was tentative, hopeful. Fine, I replied coolly. Free. I didn't stop, just kept walking toward the parking garage. She fell in a step behind me. I could hear her start to cry. Jackson, I'm getting married again, she called out after me. I know you don't want to see me, but I had to tell you. I miss you. So much. Can't we try again? I paused and turned back. Well, congratulations. She hurried to catch up, her voice rising in desperation. Jax, I didn't come here for your congratulations. I'm not trying to show off. I'm here because... I cut her off. My patience gone. Chloe, this is pathetic. You're about to get married, and you're here, chasing your ex-husband. A leopard doesn't change its spots, does it? Get lost. I glared at her. I have no interest in being dragged into your drama, and I'm definitely not interested in being the other man. Now or ever. She looked like I'd slapped her. She started rambling, her voice hollow. I haven't stopped thinking about you. I regret it every single day. If you just say the word, I'll call off the wedding. We can run away together right now. Her story tumbled out in a pathetic, self-pitying rush. That night, I don't know what happened. It was like I wasn't myself. When he came back to town, I told him to leave me alone. I really did. But he just kept texting and calling, and her voice trailed off. She went on, trying to paint herself as the tragic, devoted heroine from some trashy romance novel. The one who makes a mistake but deserves forgiveness. Unfortunately for her, I was tired of the show. Enough, I snapped. I don't want to hear your love story. We are divorced. Don't ever come looking for me again. Every adult has to live with their choices. The moment you gave in to him, you chose this outcome. And unlike you, I'm not interested in leftovers. Your moral compass is broken, Chloe. Don't try to drag me down with you. I have more self-respect than that. I turned and left her there, sobbing by the fountain. Chloe married Ethan, of course. And I, through a friend's introduction, met Evelyn. Dr. Evelyn Reed, an internationally renowned fashion designer whose work graced red carpets from Hollywood to Paris. She was brilliant, elegant, and possessed a quiet confidence that I found captivating. Her parents were wonderful, open-minded and warm. The fact that I was divorced didn't faze them in the slightest. Their kindness was a gift, and it made me determined to cherish what I had with their daughter. I assumed Chloe and I would never cross paths again. A year later, I was at the hospital with Evelyn for her first ultrasound. As we were leaving, I saw them, Chloe and Ethan, standing near the entrance, locked in a screaming match that could be heard from across the parking lot. Ethan, if it doesn't work this time, we're getting a divorce. Chloe cried, wiping tears from her face. I'm sick and tired of your mother calling me a barren hen who can't give her a grandchild. Oh, so now you're too good for me. Is that it? Ethan shot back, his voice dripping with venom. You think you can just leave me and find someone else? Don't forget, if we divorce, you'll be a 3-time loser. What man is going to want a woman on her 3rd marriage? A piece of damaged goods like you? I'm the only one who would even bother. The sheer viciousness of his attack was breathtaking. Chloe slapped him hard across the face. You think I wanted to marry you? She screamed. If you weren't such a manipulative bastard, if you hadn't sent that video to Jackson, we would never have ended up like this. Finally, he roared back. The truth comes out. You're still hung up on that prick. You want a divorce? Fine, I'll give you a divorce. Evelyn and I walked past them just then. I had my arm around her, my hand resting on her slightly rounded belly. They were so consumed by their own rage they didn't even notice us. The story, as we later pieced it together, was that they had been trying for a baby with no success. The pressure from his family, combined with countless failed treatments and folk remedies, had worn them down. A few months after that, Ethan's company was raided by the IRS for tax evasion. The investigation uncovered a massive investment fraud scheme. The company collapsed, and its top executives, including Ethan, were arrested. The informant, it turned out, was Chloe. During a drunken rage, Ethan had gotten violent. Chloe, having reached her breaking point, retaliated by reporting his illegal business activities to the authorities. With him facing federal charges, she filed for divorce, and the court quickly granted it. She was finally free, but her life was far from better. One day, I took my mom to the hospital for a checkup, and there, in the waiting room, I saw Chloe again. This time, she was fighting with her mother. It was uncanny. I felt like a video game NPC, programmed to trigger Chloe's public meltdown quest every time I enter the hospital zone. You will marry him, and that's final, her mother, Cynthia, hissed. He's offering $50,000. He's old enough to be Mr. Henderson from down the street. Chloe retorted, how can I marry him? You're a 3-time divorcee. You don't get to be picky. You should be grateful anyone wants you at all, Cynthia sneered. You'll move in with him next week. No wedding, it's a waste of money. I swear, I don't know what I did to deserve such a worthless money pit of a daughter. You're a disgrace. Chloe fired back. If I'm so worthless, why didn't you ask your precious son to bring you to your appointment? He's probably hoping you drop dead so he can get the inheritance. I'm the only one who bothers to take care of you. That lit the fuse. Cynthia lunged, grabbing a fistful of Chloe's hair and spewing curses. How dare you wish death on me? And don't you dare insult your brother. I should beat you senseless right here. I was hoping you'd at least land a rich husband to help your brother out. But no, you had to fool around with your ex and ruin everything. If it weren't for you, my son would be an executive at Pierce Corp by now. Our family is cursed because of you, you pathetic jinx. Chloe didn't back down, even as her mother pulled her hair. Your useless son? In Pierce Corp? Don't make me laugh. Even if Jax and I had gotten married, I would never have let that loser near the company. And you know why Ethan's company went under? Your son was his partner in crime. At least now he's got free room and board, courtesy of his state. You should be relieved. I couldn't help it. Standing in the corner, witnessing this five-star family implosion, I let out a laugh. My mom shot me a look that could kill. Mom, Dad, please, I thought, fight all you want, but leave me out of it. I quickly steered my mom away from the unfolding spectacle. Later, I heard that a security guard had to physically separate them. After that incident at the hospital, Chloe finally cut ties with her toxic family. I heard her brother was the vengeful type, and if he ever found out she was the one who sent him to prison, he'd make her life a living hell. To protect herself, she left the country and disappeared. 30 years passed. Evelyn and I were on vacation in Lisbon, celebrating our anniversary. We sat down for dinner at a small, cozy restaurant run by a Chinese family. When the owner came to take our order, I looked up and saw her. It was Chloe. We recognized each other instantly. Our eyes met for a long, silent moment. We exchanged no words beyond my order and her quiet confirmation. There was nothing left to say. Back at our table, Evelyn asked gently, "That was your ex-wife, wasn't it?" I nodded. Yeah. There was no point in denying it. Evelyn smiled playfully. 30 years. Any sparks? Feeling the urge to rekindle an old flame? A poignant, silver-haired romance to make up for lost time. I threw my hands up in mock surrender. My love, please have mercy. I'm halfway to the grave. I don't have the energy for that kind of drama. She laughed. I'm just teasing. But you know, if you wanted to, I'd let you go. All right, that's enough out of you, I said, picking up a piece of cake with my fork and holding out to her. Open up. This pastel de nata is amazing. I hadn't been interested in second chances when I was young. I certainly wasn't interested now. After that night, I never saw Chloe again.